Welcome back to Worldview. Now, joining us again on the program today is our good friend Robert Hunziker. Robert, welcome back to Worldview.
Hi, Dennis. Thank you very much. Great to see you.
Good to see you, too. Nice to be back from holidays, but you've done it again. You've scared me to death. Now, the last time you were here, you talked about heat sink, and that with the fact that we were releasing 400,000 Hiroshimas daily into the ocean. And in your most recent article for UK Progressive, you talk about and raise a real extinction question, which is, what if the ocean dies? And in that article, you connected the dots between oxygen production, weather, atmosphere, and the ocean actually providing resources for all of us. And the linkage to peril was a very, very short step. So let's start with pH, a measure of acidity. Where are we now, and why should we worry?
Where we're at is pH is decreasing. The scale of pH runs 0 to 14. 7 is neutral. It's, for the last few hundred years, been running around 8-ish, but coming down 25%, in fact, over the last 200 years. That measures the acidity in the ocean. And that acidity level now is getting into dangerous zones. And the reason we know that is because scientists have gone out and tested the waters. For example, Ken Caldera, who is with the Carnegie Institute, he's in charge of their Department of Global Ecology, has tested the waters off of the northern coast of California for acidity. The acidity levels in the water off the coast, northern coast of California, today will dissolve seashells. Now that's remarkable. In other words, this thing's catching up with us much faster than we would want. I studied some scientific papers, peer review papers, of scientists who travel to the Southern Ocean, and they study pteropods. And pteropods are one of the, at the base of the food chain. They're free swimming snails. They reproduce by the billions, and they provide food for what? Everything from krill to large whales. The scientists who spend their lives studying these little creatures, almost microscopic creatures, in fact, in the oceans, have put them under electronic microscopes, and they're seeing the thinnest shell ever. And this is alarming because it's at the base of the food chain for marine life. So these things are creeping up on us, and that's why I said in my article, we're in a slow motion death march that's already well underway.
Well, wasn't it also something where Phillip Cousteau, the son of the famed explorer Jacques Cousteau, said that we're altering the chemistry of the ocean? What does that mean when you start to alter the chemistry of the ocean?
It becomes more acidic, and it's called acidosis. And it does several things. It inhibits or it dissolves shell. So it makes it very difficult for a clam to develop or for reefs to develop, because our reef system in the world consists of little live animals, little polyps, that form a cup shell around themselves of calcium carbonate. And what happens is when you have too much acidity, you lose the carbonate part of the equation, and they cannot create their calcium carbonate shells, which is essentially either a skeleton that's outside the animal or inside. Furthermore, they're also discovering that this acidity in the ocean is affecting animals that don't have shells. It's affecting their system and their reproductive capabilities. So this is a huge problem if you take it to the nth degree. We're not there by a long shot. They're just starting to understand and get involved in these things. As a matter of fact, this whole study of the acidity of the oceans is recent. It's relatively recent. This isn't something they've been looking at for 100 years or 50 years or decades. It's within the last decade.
And yet, in looking at this, did I not read something in your article that said we've had millions of years of damage done in a very short period of time, or millions of years of measured activity in a short period of time?
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, Alex Rogers, who's the head of the State of the Oceans, and he's a professor at Cambridge, he's probably the #1 name plate in marine the ocean studies in the world. And he made the statement that our acidity levels today are the highest they've been in probably 55 million years. And what he's trying to do is reflect back to a period of time when we had problems in the oceans once before, according to records that were discovered by scientists. And yes, indeed, we're creeping up on some serious problems in that regard.
Well, let's talk a little bit about oxygen production, the increase in weather storms, and the impacts all this, if this ocean death spiral were to continue. What else would that mean?
The ocean does produce half of our oxygen. Okay, it doesn't just come from the trees and plants. The half of it comes from the ocean. So if you have this imbalance in the ocean, it actually inhibits its oxygen production as well. That's probably affecting the marine life more so than it is us on an immediate basis. But yeah, that's another one of the pushes and pulls you get in our climate. The other thing is, we talked a week or two ago about the heat sink and how much heat the ocean is absorbing. And that, again, has a dramatic impact upon our coral system. And it causes these polyps within these corals and the algae that's within the corals to leave, and that's why you get the whitening of the corals and the death of the coral system. 50% of the corals in the world today, all of our reefs out there in the world today, are endangered, of dying off. We've had coral reefs that are already dead. We know about these, for example, in the Mediterranean Sea. There are some Israeli scientists who've gone and studied these things. They've said the feeder system is dead. They're no longer creating coral reefs in certain parts of the Mediterranean. So this is the very beginning stages. Science is finding the early stage of we got a big problem out there.
Well, when you look at this big problem and expand on it even further, I mean, obviously the end game here or the end point is the collapse of the food chain due to weather, atmosphere, etc. Talk a little bit about, in the time we have remaining, what happens if that food chain collapse actually occurs?
If it occurs, it'll have a ripple effect throughout the entire organism of a planet, if you want to call it an organism, because our life is dictated by the oceans in so many ways, and if you kill off all of the life in the ocean, we're going to die too, basically is what it amounts to. I mean, that may not happen, but we're talking about the extreme here, aren't we? But along the way, the problem is, for us human beings, when I say it's a slow motion event, at some point in time, you're going to find your food source disrupted. And when your food source becomes disrupted, and once again, we got the same problem with the climate in the land and the atmosphere as we do in the ocean. All of these things combined happening. The effect of the jet streams throwing off our weather systems. That's happening in a sense under the water as well. And so you're throwing off the food system everywhere. That creates what? Panic in the world. It creates riots in the world, food riots in the world. It creates desperate hordes of people who will travel the world like the Huns did when they chased down the Roman provinces, in the 3rd and 4th century AD, if you will. That's where you're going to end up with this thing.
Only this time they'll have automatic weapons, which is a little bit scary if you stop and think about it.
That's right.
Well, it's very sobering stuff, Robert, and I want to thank you as always for coming around to enlighten us here.
Nice to see you again.
Robert Hunziker is a freelance writer for dozens of publications, including our own UK Progressive magazine. And his personal mission is to simplify the understanding of climate change through essays and articles based upon research that cuts through the balancing act jargon to help us all understand the severity of the problem. You're watching Worldview with Dennis Campbell. Keep it right here.